How many of you know that this is one of the best time to be alive? How many of you know that this is one of the best time to be a Nigerian? I know because each time I say this, whenever I speak, people don't react positively. But let me tell you, anytime you find yourself in a place of discomfort, that is where your opportunity lies. You didn't hear me. I said every time you are going through seasons of distress, be patient and open your eyes. There is something in stock for you at that point in time. Am I communicating? You know, I want to thank all the speakers because they spoke honestly regarding their past. And it really helped us to identify. Am I communicating? You know, most times people come and then they talk only the good areas, you know. You think that they fell from heaven. But when you hear people that have achieved and all that they overcame to get to where they are today, you will become encouraged. Is that true? Is that true? And so, let me just share briefly, and then I will talk about vision casting. I became an orphan at the age of 12. In other words, I lost my parents and my mother early in life. But mine was not too bad, though. Yes, because I had some elderly ones. I happened to be the last child of 8 children. And so, but let me tell you where my greatest challenge came. Not because I lacked money or resources. Not because I lacked love. My greatest challenge was how to manage freedom that life gave me early in life. You didn't understand me. How many of you know that it is more difficult to manage freedom than authority? And so because I was alone with my aunt, my elderly ones have gone to the city. And so that freedom became a challenge. It was difficult, you know, that when you go out and you know that somebody is going to question you where you went to and what time you got back. It becomes a guide. Am I communicating somebody? And so because I had only my old aunt in the village. I mean, if you know, I was a country boy, you know. I grew up in the village. I only visit the city and go back. And so, it became difficult for me to walk into my purpose, but at the same time, managing the enormous freedom that life threw at me at early time. But listen to me, friends. I've already determined that nothing will stop me from entering into my greatness in life. And so some friends will come and say, Davies, let's go for a party in the town. I said, no, I will not. So I will lock up myself and read when I need to read. I make sure I get home on time before darkness fell. And so God helped me to manage that phase of my life. And that is why I want to encourage the young people in the house today. Please, never you abuse the freedom that you have today. Your parents may not be there to check you. Your parents may not be there to determine how you move or live your life. But make sure that that freedom does not become a curse to you. Am I communicating? And so, let me fast forward. I went to overseas. Immediately I finished my university education. No relative. And so when I go to overseas, I saw Nigerians, I saw Africans making money through drug trafficking. Some of them will come to me and say, Davies, why are you wasting your time looking for a job? There is no job. Come and carry this thing now. You know, come and carry this thing. Free. When you finish selling, you just return the money. I will say no. And that is why Someone said it earlier here. Please know God for yourself. Know God for yourself. I happened to had encounter with Christ right in Trem before I traveled overseas. So when those moments of temptation will come, I will slot Big Daddy's tape. I begin to watch. One that will never leave me is Emergence of Great Men. Every time I will put it on, and then I will be listening. And so I will say, no matter what I'll go through, I will never give up. I will be great, but not through the evil way. Am I communicating somebody? And so, from there, I began to hit the ceiling. I began to do what even many people that I went ahead of me could not achieve. God was opening doors. Is it getting my stay? Whatever it is, I opened companies. I began to succeed. I travel anywhere I want. Now, how many of you know that life is in stages? As God is taking you, he will give you tests. Anyone you pass, he moves you to another level. Okay? And so there came a time, the question of purpose began to resonate in my heart. Began to ask myself, what is the meaning of life? Is it about getting the type of job you want? Is it about driving the car you want? Is it about money? Is it about traveling anywhere you want? What is really the true meaning of life? So I began to ask these questions. I didn't know that I was looking for trouble. Stay with me, people of God. Before I knew it, the answers began to unfold, but at the same time, God began to pull the rug off my feet. There was something I was looking for. And God told me, stop praying about it. I'm not going to do it. God said, I am not going to do it. I need you in Africa. Then I was living in Europe. He said, I need you in Africa. I said, God, how can you tell me you need me in Africa? I am praying for another thing. You are telling me you want me to go back in Africa, to Africa. As at that time, I've married my beautiful, wonderful wife. And I wanted to bring her over. God said, no. It's not in the plan. As at that time, she was in year 2 in Unilag when we wedded. I came from London. I wedded her in Trem headquarters. Bishop Mike joined 2 of us. And God said, no. That's not the plan. Go back to Africa. I want to use you in Africa. I want you to stay with me. I am telling you a story about vision casting. And then I told my family, stop praying. You know that prayer point I told you to join me? Stop. God said he would not answer it. I'm already making plans to come back. And so people of God, when I came back, I returned to Nigeria. I said to God, what do you want me to do? I began to pray. Reverend Ma, I began to pray. And God gave me a vision around 3 a.m. one night. I was on bed with my wife. Suddenly, I saw myself raising a snail. God was interpreting everything step by step, step by step. By the time he was done, I woke up. You know, when you know you have a divine encounter, you will know. I started singing. My wife asked me, why are you singing? Why did you just wake up and started singing? I said, I had a vision. He said, share it with me. I shared it with her straight away. But let me fast track because of time. The following day, that vision refused to leave me alone. Everywhere I go, I was thinking about it. Everything I was doing, I was thinking about it. And God said, start what I told you to. I said, but God, I didn't read agriculture. Well, why don't you leave me with my consultancy firm? Then I was enjoying speaking to training managers in Abuja, and they will pay millions. Organizations, you just take their leaders and train them. And they wire you money straight away. I said, why don't you leave me? This one, why they do? I enjoy. Because how many of you know that anytime God is giving you a vision, it's not for you alone? And so I started researching about snail, started reading books, started contacting people who were doing it, made a few visits to some farms. And then I started, many of you know this story of our company. I started, God said, go outside. Go and gather tires. I went and gathered tires, 6 tires from the street. I went to Ghana on a visit. I was still in Ghana. My wife called me and said, honey, the 25 snares that you are going to start the vision, I have picked it where I went to visit my father in Ekoto. I shared it with my father. My father said there are snails across the fence. True story. So immediately I came back from Ghana. I took those snails, sir, and put them in that tire and began to nurture them. One day, I came back from work, my consultancy firm. I wanted to go and sprinkle water. I saw one of them busy laying eggs. I ran back and collected spoon and plastic plates and gathered them from the tire. Went into the house and counted them, and I counted 396 eggs being laid by one snail. So I said, God, so this thing is true. To fast track. I didn't know that God was drawing me to prove to me that there is something on the way that he is taking me to. Then eventually, we moved that farm, very small, at the back of Surulere here, Aguda. I moved it to my 12. I want to tell every young person here, when it comes to success or greatness in life, it is not always what you desire to do that counts. It is what you ought to do. You didn't hear me. Greatness in life is not about what you want to do. It is what you ought. Go and check the meaning of ought. It's different from want. And so, the business started gradually. That is why whenever you are talking about vision, it is about painting the picture. Yes. Okay, you can see it. Okay, it's common. That's the tire. That's exactly the tire is through Lera Aguda. I just had the backyard, cemented floor. And so, one day, at that my 12, from there we moved to my 12. Very small portion. I said to my eldest sister's husband that this small place that we are raising this snail, not enough again. I need one plot of land. And that is why it is important that whenever you get your vision, you must add hard work to it. That God has given you a vision is not automatic. Oh. Tell your neighbor it's not automatic. You must work hard. So every day, I was traveling from Surulere to my 12 and back. God will look at your readiness before he promotes you. You must pass every level you are before he lifts you up. And then I told him, I said to my uncle, I am looking for one plot. This place is no more containing us. He said, I have a friend in Shimawa that has been calling me, let's go there. So we went. Immediately we arrived Shimawa. The friend was waiting with bike and said we should, that we never reach. I said, all this long journey. Because of one plot, we never reach. Now they carry us, me and my uncle, enter one bush, they go. As at that time, my mind don't come out. I have already, sorry. I've already removed my mind. I was just humbling myself. Let them finish, make they go. Then at that moment, hear me, people of God. As I was murmuring, God said, will you keep quiet? I brought you here for a purpose. It looked as if they took cold water and poured on me. I said, God, sorry. And that was how, where you are looking at. Where you are looking at is 3-acre farm. Fenced round with gate. For those of you who may not understand what 3 acres farm, I'm talking about 18 plots joined together. Change it. This is the story I told you. This is where they were laying the eggs. This is when we moved to my 12. Continue. This is the land in Shimawa that I met. Because of time, I'm going to skip a few things. But we bought this land, and that is why I want to say something very strategic. Listen to me. I want to say this in honor of my wife. And that is why you young people, whenever you are making a decision of whom you are going to spend the rest of your time is, don't look for the one that is handsome and rich. Look for a man that is God-fearing and visionary. He may not have money today, but as long as he has God and a vision, you are covered. Is somebody understanding me? Also, as at that time, listen to me, as at that time, I had gone to Israel for studies. I was on Israel in the classroom, my phone rang. I took excuse from the professor, and I stepped out to answer. It was my beautiful wife. And so he said, honey, I went back with uncle. And we wanted to pay for one plot, but the surveyor that surveyed the entire land saw us and said, what are you doing here? We said, we came to pay for one plot of land. He said, why one plot when you can buy an acre? I said to her, how much is the acre? She said, I said, pay. Follow me carefully. I said, pay. So they paid. About less than 10 days, I returned to Nigeria. I hasted to Shimawa. As I got to that point of that first plot, before I traveled, I got there. Everywhere has turned to major road. I said, God, what is this? Did I come to the wrong place? He said, but I told you to be quiet. Because that first day, there was no road. In fact, we missed our road. We missed our way and ended up in another village. When we were looking for her to come out. True story. So the next time I went with my vehicle all the way to this plot of land. And work started. As when you look at this tree, we uprooted over 300 trees by hand. No tractor. Yes. We brought in the Hausa people. And they were, look at them. I kept paying them money. That they got, not money again, they got tired of the work. Am I communicating? I am trying to say why I brought my wife in that story. It's difficult to accomplish a vision if you don't have peace at home. I don't care whom you are. Whether man or woman, if you don't have peace at home, forget it. 50% is gone. And that is why you must pray that God gives you a partner that gives you peace. That's what God did to me, where my wife is. You know, God, I am wired to see things before people see it. That's my own, the way God wired me. I can sit here now, give me 1 hour. I will tell you what is possible here. That's my own gift. So each time I share with my wife, you know, there are people you will share. It better may they tell you no than the reaction you will get. But my wife will listen. And I will tell her what I am seeing, what we need to do. She will say, okay, what about this? All right. She will always encourage me. What am I trying to say? Is that we continued. Next slide. 7 months down the line, we turned it into a garden. 7 months. I returned March, November. The High Commissioner, the Israeli ambassador to Nigeria came and commissioned it. After the commissioning ceremony, 10 days later, Bishop Mike heard of it and said, I must be there. Big Daddy came. 2 hours, Big Daddy refused to sit down. He said, what is this? The point I'm trying to make is that, please, when God gives you a vision, it is your turn to execute it. It has nothing to do with money. When we started, this company was built 0 naira. Don't forget my story. Eh? The 25 Snello. Now free now. We didn't buy it. The tire. Did we buy it? No. Just a vision and with knowledge. You must step out and begin to make sure you work on that vision. Next. How many of you know that today, this is what it looks like? This is what it looks like. Consistency. You must be persistent. Whatever it is that God has told you to do in your vision, after you have casted it. How many of you know that before we got to this level, I have already designed how the farm will look like? That's why when some people get there, they don't believe. They think that a surveyor did. I said, Lala, I will be the one. I will tell the workers, put peg here. Put peg here. Put line. But when you go there today, if anybody tells you that it was not done by a professional surveyor, you will never believe. Let's fast track. That is it. So when you go to Inspire Center today, we have moved because every vision is progressive. As you are moving, God will be opening more to you. And so we created it. Okay, all right. Yeah. I just want to say something strategic. Just run this slide. I want to say something strategic before I step down. We've been producing food almost 10 years now. Consistently. Without fertilizer. Consistently. We have never stopped. We raise animals. Continue. I want to round up. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Continue. I want to say something. And so one day, one of the early days after that place was commissioned, my only worker then, I came. My only worker was not in the farm. I heard that he went to play in the town. And a few of a few friends of my wife were being expected for the very first time. Part of our determination was that you will not come there and see the farm dirty. And so I began to weed the farm myself. Suddenly rain started. Out of the frustration, I began to cry. I said, God, why? Only this thing you see. Why did you leave me to come and do this thing alone? God said, look up. I looked up. He said, look around. Then I will be in that forest alone now. Nobody now where the houses don't come. God said, look around. I looked around. I said, okay. Did you see anybody? I said, no. He said, you're alone here. I said, yes, sir. Very soon, be patient and focus. Very soon, this city is going to pay to see what I'm doing with you here. That same week, sir, God gave me an idea of Farm Fest. And so, I shared it with my wife and we began to plan. And we went to the media and began the planning. Everything, people we are not paying. A day came, that's the second Saturday of November. The first time we did it consecutively for 5 years before the COVID started. We made a break. We will soon start again. And so people came, buses everywhere. And when the whole place filled up, God now said, remember what I told you? I had to go and hide and started crying. He said, did I not tell you that this city will come? Are they not here? Tell your friend, fear God. God is not a man. I don't know where you have found yourself today. I plead with you. Don't wait on the people who tell you to take the first step. Did you hear what I said? No. All you need is God. You begin to run. And so, look at the people. We are coming, conducting them. Move on. Move on. We set table in the farm. People will eat. Continue. Continue. Then at a point, one of the years, yes, let me tell you a story. One of the years, as we were in that event, I think season 4 or so, rain started towards the end. And so some people had to go under the canopy. I was uncomfortable. I said, God, this will be the last time that rain will fall on anyone in this farm. That week, God said, design a center and create everything that you want to see in that center. Hall, cafeteria, lodging rooms, ensuite, whatever it is, private suite. Continue. Today we have a hall, 100 seating capacity, and all of that. As I round up, I want to plead to every one of us here. Africa has a lot of opportunity today. Never you join the band that are leaving Africa for overseas. I have been there. Talk of Canada, US, Europe, Asia, Middle East. I have gone. I have walked all the way with UK government. I understand the policies of these people and all of that. I want to beg you, as we speak, the young people of Africa is about 70% of the population. The world is waiting for Africa to take over. And that bridge, Afárá is bridge, I understand. God is waiting for you to make the bridge that he needs for Africa to rise to the top. And that is why you cannot, because of comfort, run away from where your blessing has been kept. Hear me and hear me well. I don't care who tells you lies. But whatever they must have told you, you are not, I repeat, you are not in full possession of the entire picture. It dawns on people when they arrive. And most times, there is no more going back. I am telling you the truth because I have been there. And I am here. There is no place better like home. May God bless you in Jesus' name.